announce this.
Wait.
Copy link, paste it. All right. Put that there and start the stream. Welcome to Horsin Around, a dumbass cast. I'm your host, Nick Mercadante, and today we are joined by one lovely guest. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Jack.
Thank God. It only took us to
We
have our cast.
We did it.
To have our cast to actually get the names down properly. Thank the fucking Lord. Anyways, yeah, today, this week, kind of a lot of shit happened. So we've got plenty to talk about. I think with the subject matter at hand, I think it's worth just coming out and saying at the front of all this that, if you've been personally affected by the riots or are impacted in some way and don't want to hear about it, then that's fine. But that is what we're going to be covering today. So just letting you know in advance. And obviously, to prevent ourselves from getting banned, neither of us are advocating any form of violence. Please protest peacefully if you're going to protest. And
speak for yourself, Nick.
Okay, well then, if I get banned, it's on your head. But yeah, so I don't know. I guess to start at the beginning, another black man has been killed by the police in the U.S. And that just steamrolled into everything else happening. It's been 4 days now, I think, of protestings and attacks on police precincts. The third precinct in Minneapolis has gone up in flames. And there was a cop car. I'm pulling up the live updates right now from CNN, and apparently there were Molotov cocktails thrown into a police van in Brooklyn. And there's really stunning imagery of a burning NYPD van right there. And yeah, it's
oh, holy shit.
Yeah, it's been fucking wild. I'm gonna try and pull up Minneapolis. I want to see how exactly this all started, because at a certain point, it really just boils down to the same thing over and over again. But I do want to know the specifics.
Oh, sweet.
I don't know if you've.
Fucking governor called in the National Guard.
Yeah, they're
always ends well.
Yeah, National Guard's been pulled in all over the country. It seems like I think the thing that really caught me the most off guard was the news that there were protesters across the street from the White House.
Yeah, I saw that, but I didn't read the linked article or whatever it was.
Yeah, George.
What was up with that?
George Floyd. Yeah, they were just standing in solidarity of George Floyd. I thought, based on how Gallon texted it, that
the name is pronounced Galen.
Galen. Whoopsies. But
oh fuck, that's loud.
Yeah, it sounded like they were actually at the fences of the White House, but they have a police barricade across the street, but there's still a fuck ton of protesters, and apparently at one point somebody fired off a firework towards the White House.
Yeah, I heard about that. It's probably smart that they're a little back. The Secret Service does not like it when you
fire projectiles towards the White House. Yeah. Okay, so I just pulled up the Washington Post article. On May 25th, Minneapolis resident George Floyd was pinned face down on the ground, handcuffed by a white police officer who pressed his knee against Floyd's neck for more than 8 minutes. Floyd, a 46-year-old black man, was suspected of passing a counterfeit $20 bill. He was unresponsive when paramedics arrived and pronounced dead later. Yeah, that sounds about par for the course, which is why I don't know. I understand the outrage that a $20 bill, a man died over a fake $20 bill that is suspected of passing. Not even, again, like
It's not like he had like a gun or something.
Yeah,
like,
there is a whole.
This isn't a violent crime.
There's a whole conversation and a half to be had about the use of deadly force in police operations, and this is just you don't. That's not needed. There's no need for that level of deadly force to be applied. 8 minutes. Why? You had if you're trying to subdue no, nothing about that makes any sense. It's just awful.
Especially when you're like, police officers are trained not to do anything with the neck, right? Like I've seen so many people say like, I'm a cop and we're told never to put anything near anyone's fucking neck because people die that way.
Right. I don't know. You can argue that there are bad apples, but there's so many. There's so many bad apples. Like at a certain point, is the batch just bad? Maybe the institution is a little fucked. You ever thought of that? Maybe just a little bit. Really, we gotta put on your thinking caps for that one. I don't know. It's been bad. And
I don't know.
They've been going. I'm looking through the tweets now. Cars in Atlanta have been set on fire.
Press conference.
But what did you say?
Cuomo, I guess, had a press conference or whatever. One looks like a public health system issue, COVID, but it's getting at the inequality in healthcare also on a deeper level than the George Floyd situation, where it gets at the inequality and discrimination in the criminal justice system. They are connected. Oh, this is from Saturday. Oh, that's today. Okay.
Today is Saturday. Yes.
Yeah. So his daily news briefing, he talked about both situations, I guess, which is
gotcha.
Said we need to stop. I'm just reading off the CNN.
The live updates.
Stream. Yeah.
Yeah. Something that caught me off guard from these articles was the note about Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has said rough estimates indicate that about 20% of protesters are Minnesotans and about 80% are from outside the region. I am personally very shocked by those numbers, and I would love to see those backed up somehow, because
I'd just like to know how he got that, especially considering.
Yeah, I mean, this seems
like it would be really hard to identify.
Yeah, this has been going on for a couple days now, so I guess they've had time to travel, but I don't. That seems a little wild to me. That
especially
80%,
with all the local protests going on.
Exactly, yeah, because there's protests going on around the whole country, so a lot of people have chosen
every major city.
Yeah, to stay in their population centers and just protest there instead.
Yeah. I guess that's obviously, it doesn't feel as effective or impactful, but still.
Yeah, but wild. if that is the case, that's insane to me that people would flock that hard so quickly. Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, Minneapolis is a big city, but it's not.
It's not near anything. Though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of in the middle of.
It's in Minnesota, so it's pretty. Yeah, it's in the upper Midwest. Yeah, no. Yeah, there's that's the one major city basically in Minnesota. Next closest, if I zoom out on Google Maps, the next closest city that it bothers to mark is Chicago, and that's all the way in Illinois at the bottom of the Lake Michigan. So yeah.
So I mean, I guess people are probably. Well, so what did he say? Were people coming from out of state, or
it's a very brief note. It says we understand. It's basically just indicate that 20% of protesters are Minnesotans and 80% are outside the region. Again, I don't know how they know that. I guess maybe from the arrests they've made, but
that's true. Yeah, that would do it. Interesting that people are. It seems so irresponsible to travel so far right now. Even to go to a protest seems. Like a bad idea. But I get it.
Yeah. Ken, I have seen your comment on the writing, and I don't know. I've seen some posts about how he's just saying that let's burn down neighborhoods and local businesses due to injustice before the police officers receive their sentence. So for a period, I mean, that's the reason it started is because there was no immediate action. Eventually, the current status is that he's been arrested for manslaughter and murder.
What about the other three though?
I don't know if they've been charged. Let's see, Minneapolis
Yeah, it looks like only the
officers.
Oh, holy shit.
Whoever says unrest is no
Oh,
longer
this
any way
is-
the murder of
yeah.
Judge Floyd. Wallace fully mobilized National Guard. Yeah, I'm not sure. All I've heard
Four
about is
officers injured
the
in Boston.
police officer. I mean, I would hope that the other officers were arrested for manslaughter, if not, assistance in murder.
I don't think they have been.
Well, then that's fucked up. But
I think it's only the one who actually like.
there are videos circulating about how protesters. It seems, as far as I understand, and again, the situation's evolving, and I'm definitely not able to read everything right now. But from what's been passed around, like this video that was shared in Beekman Major last night, was a video of what like some protester in a black mask. Who was acting? It seemed like they were acting.
Video.
Yeah, they were acting on their own while everybody else was standing around peacefully protesting. This guy walked out behind everybody else, just started bashing in on fucking AutoZone windows, and then other people were like, "Hey, fucking stop that! That's not what we're trying to do here," and then got him to leave. And then it's so difficult to persecute individuals when you're doing a large-scale protests, so I can't speak for all protesters around the country, but like I don't feel like the people who are trying to remember George Floyd and seek out his justice are trying to incite the violence and the police backlash here that like whoever this individual was trying to do. On the whole, TM. Obviously once things started to break down, then that's when you have people breaking into the third precinct and stuff. But yeah. Oh, there was.
Also, have you?
Sorry. Yeah. What were you saying?
There's a bunch of video of the guy in black, like, trying to dodge people following him.
Oh, really?
I think supposedly some woman came forward saying like she's his ex-wife and he's a cop. So.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if that'll go anywhere. I don't think it will. It'll probably get lost.
No, I'm sure it won't. He's like his face is pretty well covered.
Right, but
I can try to find the.
Yeah. The FBI incident started investigating. Yeah, that's possible, but I think it shouldn't have happened in the first place. That's the long and short of it. A man is dead, and you can't undo that through any kind of due process. You can charge the man, and that is a step in the right direction. But for one thing, none of the other officers told him to stop.
Dead.
Yeah, none of the other officers told him to stop, and they didn't. They weren't, apparently whatever training they did receive from their precinct wasn't good enough to tell them, hey, maybe don't sit on a guy's neck for 8 minutes and
after
definitely kill him.
Breathe.
Exactly. And especially after all these other deaths. This isn't the first. This isn't a long line of these incidents that just keeps going on and on. I do want.
There's so much that goes unreported too.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't.
So many like regional incidents that just slip under the radar.
Yeah, somebody mentioned something that caught my eye, and I want to see if I can get a source on it. Somebody said that police officers were instructed to turn off their body cams unless a crime was in progress.
Yeah, that was like a couple messages up in Beekman Major.
Boogaloo. Okay, yeah, okay, Seattle. Yes, let me search Seattle Police Department.
It's literally like 5 messages up.
Mm-hmm. Police Department body cams.
It is literally 5 messages up, Nick.
Yeah, no, I scrolled up to it. That's how I saw that.
Okay.
Seattle Police Department.
I thought there was. Did Galen post more about that?
I didn't. No, that was it. He didn't post a link, so I'm just trying to source that somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
News.
Yeah. Sorry. That's my bad.
Reed's body. No, 1 week ago. But yeah, if they're doing that, that's definitely fucked up. Because then it's just like, first of all, the whole point of body cams is that they stay on all the time. Like, what the fuck, bro? Past 24 hours. No.
Not a
past
good
week.
look.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the all right. So that is unsourced right now, unless Galen can
Yeah,
provide a
I
source
can't
on
find
hand.
one either.
Um,
Galen does live in Seattle, so
okay.
they would
Um,
probably know more, but
yeah, but
do not know.
I definitely one thing that we do know about for sure, and that we can talk about for a long, long while is the the tweets that our good old Orange Man Bad decided to put out in regards to all of this
The
situation.
classic, when the looting starts, the shooting starts.
Yes, these thugs are
In what world
dishonoring.
is it fucking acceptable to say that?
In Donald Trump's world, these thugs are dishonoring the
Wild.
memory of George Floyd, and I won't let that happen. Just spoke to Governor Tim Walz and told him that the military is with him all the way. Any difficulty, and we will assume control. But when the looting starts, the shooting starts. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
The
you.
worst part is he's quoting like a really racist, like former Miami mayor or police chief or something. Like
Oh,
the quote
love
that's
it.
originally from this whole like article or statement that some dude put out, which is just absolutely awful. Like
Lovely.
I think in the first paragraph he's like, they're talking about police brutality. They haven't seen brutality yet. Trying to find that.
Yikes. Yeah, looting here. Let me start looting sharts, shooting sharts. But yeah, Twitter banned
Yeah, police chief.
starts. History behind the looting sharts, the shooting sharts. So just to go back to his
Are you
so
also on the NPR page?
yeah, Twitter did ban that, or they didn't remove it because
They put the little warning
yeah,
up.
they put a warning on it because they were like, this is historically important. So they were like, this tweet violates our policies regarding the glorification of violence based on the historical context of the last line, its connections to violence, and the risk it could inspire similar actions today. So that is referring to what you were talking about with the 70s police precinct officer. We've taken action in the interest of preventing others from being inspired to commit violent acts, but have kept the tweet on Twitter because it is important that the public still be able to see the tweet given its relevance to ongoing matters of public importance. So they're really stuck between a rock and a hard place on this one because, like, this is Donald Trump has just decided that he's going to use Twitter as his platform to to send out official presidential statements. So Twitter is a public platform where they have terms of service and guidelines for posting, and they, on the one hand, should be following those rules no matter who's breaking them. But on the other hand, when you're dealing with what could potentially be, historical like documents or statements that should be preserved for the sake of history, then what do you have? You need to keep it up in some, like, you have some kind of historical obligation to keep it up, I guess. And so it's they're in a fuck situation. I guess they've done the best that they could with what they were given. But again, that shouldn't have to be an issue in the first place if our president wasn't a fucking dumbass.
Yeah, Twitter also has the obvious monetary incentive where Trump tweeting drives people to their
Yeah,
site.
that is also true. In 1967, Miami Police Chief Walter Headley used the phrase, when the looting starts, the shooting starts, during hearings about crime in the Florida city, invoking angry reactions from civil rights leaders, according to a news report at the time. He had a long history of bigotry against the black community, said Professor Clarence Lusane of Howard University. The NAACP and other black organizations had for years complained about the treatment of the black community by Miami police. At this hearing, discussing how he would deal with what he called crime and thugs and threats by young black people, he issued this statement that the reason Miami had not had any riots up to that point was because of the message that had been sent out that when the looting starts, the shooting starts.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the full document.
The full statement from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of wild.
And of course, then Trump was trying to recover somehow by saying looting leads to shooting, and that's why a man was shot and killed in Minneapolis on Wednesday night, or look at what just happened in Louisville when 7 people were shot. I don't want this to happen, and that's what the expression was put out what last night means, but it's not. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I could see ignorance as fucking. I could see
saying the chief.
Yeah, I could see any level of idiocy coming from our president. Like, it's possible, but at the same time, bro, you're the fucking president of the United States. Please, I beg you, just look into anything before you say it. Like, you were definitely alive and cognizant when you heard that man say those things in 1967.
I'm sure some staffer just like said it, and he was like, "Oh, that's a real
zinger."
I'm gonna tweet it now. So I found the quote from the article I was talking about.
Okay.
From like the original 67 article.
Yeah.
"We don't mind being accused of police brutality," Headley said. "They haven't seen anything yet." Yikes. Yikes.
Yeah.
Can't just say that.
It's fucked up, and I don't know what I mean. Yeah, I guess Twitter's probably gonna get a huge. I have a bunch of Twitter tabs open right now, so I guess it worked that Donald Trump tweeted this shit. But yeah, there's a video I keep going back to of people just standing there. There's a guy holding up middle fingers at 4 police officers, and then one of them just fucking runs out and just starts pepper spraying the shit out of them.
That's less good.
And yeah, it's pretty fucked up. There was another one of cop cars going by. Where is that one? Did I close it? There was one of cop cars going by in I think New York City or one of the major cities, and then people are just standing on the sides of the road, berating them, and then somebody opens their window from the cop car and starts pepper spraying people out the window while they're peacefully protesting. Just like, okay, not a great look, y'all.
Pretty fucked up that cops are using pepper spray in the middle of a pandemic.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Yeah, this is
not a good look.
I am curious to see if there's going to be a spike of cases after this all blows. I don't know. I don't even know if it's going to blow over in the near future. We'll see. But
I was reading about like home remedies for I've been pepper sprayed. What can I do the other day?
Oh yeah.
And like obviously the correct way to do it is wipe as much as you can off and then just wash your face pretty aggressively.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently people are like, I'm gonna wash my face with milk. I'm gonna wash my face with vodka. Really don't get the vodka one.
Vodka is a cure-all, okay?
I guess it probably hurts more than the pepper spray.
Oh, God. An hour and 32 minutes ago, Minnesota will have 2,500 National Guard and personnel deployed by noon today, officials say. Jesus. Oh, God. Derek Chauvin is being detained at Ramsey County Jail in St. Paul. That place is going to start receiving some activity very soon. I could almost guarantee it.
Good.
Mobilization of Minnesota State Patrol is unlike anything seen in the state since 1929.
Yeah, so I also saw stuff being compared to what happened in 1929?
1929? I think that was the Chicago race
riots. Is it just
riots.
the Great Depression?
No, I think the race riots were then. Chicago race riots.
No, that was 1919.
1929 riots? The 1929... No, these are Palestine riots. I don't know what they could be talking about in 1929. Maybe it was a rush on the banks for the Great Depression. That's possible.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard milk helps a lot with pepper spray. Good, Luigi. Remember, look. If you're the president of the United States, you should fucking learn what you're referencing before you tweet it out to the entire country as your official fucking stance. And also, regardless of what the context was, you're still inciting violence. against protesters
Yeah.
by saying that. Like, and it's not good. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. There's no good angle on that at all. Yeah, and I'm wondering how this is gonna resolve because we're getting updates literally by the hour. It seems like at this point. Here's another report that says the mayor saying that they're not residents from the city. Coming in largely from outside the city. Our Minneapolis residents are scared, and rightfully so. We've seen long-term institutional business overridden. We've seen community institutions set on fire, and I want to be very, very clear that people are doing this, not Minneapolis residents. He said the protests earlier this week that were mostly peaceful and were largely attended by those who lived in the city, but the dynamic has changed. Gradually, that shift was made, and we saw more and more people coming from outside of the city. We saw more and more people looking to cause violence in our communities, and I have to say it is not acceptable. This is no longer about verbal expression. It's about violence, and we need to make sure it stops. St. Paul Mayor Melvin Carter said to everyone who was arrested in the city last night wasn't from outside the city. Okay, so yeah, everyone who was arrested in his city last night was from outside the state. That is, if that's true, that is pretty.
Outside the state?
Yeah, from outside the state. That is pretty wild. There were roughly 20 arrests made in St. Paul last night, mostly for burglary, and roughly the same number of arrests in Minneapolis for curfew violations and destruction of property. Commissioner of Minnesota Department of Public Safety. So yeah, I guess it is pretty fucked up if people are just coming in, and I think that might have happened with what was how am I forgetting this? The case back in 2014 during Obama's second term, where they locked all the who
in Florida?
No, it was
or Charlottesville?
Yes.
Ferguson? Sorry.
Yes, Ferguson.
Ferguson.
Yeah. The Ferguson riots. They started out with people in the city, and then I think as more people came in from out of town, things started to escalate.
A ton of people marched through the city too.
Yeah.
That was wild.
And
you're right.
Yeah, I guess they just see that there's a lack of control right now, and so they're just taking that as a sign to fuck shit up, which is just not helpful.
If I wanted to loot a target, I would also go to Minnesota right now, quite frankly.
Jack, you really want us to get banned from fucking Twitch.
I said if.
If. Oh, yeah, if. Of course.
I'm just saying, checks out. I don't have any need to loot a target.
Nobody has it.
Also, I saw a bunch of tweets about the target that was looted specifically being the target that Target uses to try out all new loss prevention TM techniques.
What is
that? So it's known for they try out different surveillance systems and policing techniques. So it's known for being kind of fucked up and brutal, I think. I can try to find more information about that.
I like scrolling through these live updates, and half of them are just going back to pictures of the mayor and the governor just on the pedestal making statements.
Oh, that target is also next to the police station.
Yeah, that might have something to do with it.
Mayhap's not the best place to start.
Trump says White House protests have little to do with memory of George Floyd. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I think the timing is a little suspicious, when a bunch of people line up outside the White House, and at the same time as everybody else is lining up outside the country, places of significance and being like, hey, stop killing black people, please.
Turns out the residence of the person with the highest office in the nation is simply a good place to protest.
Wow. Trump responds to White House protesters saying that they would have been met with vicious dogs. Another lovely tweet from our president. In a bizarre 4-tweet thread, the President Trump thanked the Secret Service for their handling of protesters in Lafayette Park last Friday night. President tweeted that the protesters would have been greeted with the most vicious dogs and most ominous weapons I have ever seen had they breached the fence at the White House.
Why do you say that? Why does he say this shit?
Yeah, well, because he fearmongers. That's what he does. Trump also attacked DC
Wild.
mayor. DC. And of course, he has to attack everybody. He can't just stop at the people who are directly assaulting his residents. Trump also attacked DC Mayor Muriel Bowser, claiming she wouldn't
What
let
a
the
name.
DC police get involved. DC police were on scene last night, in addition to several other agencies. Gotta love it. Oh my god. Yeah. It's fucking wild. Protesters clashed with Secret Service overnight outside the White House. Yeah, that is a shot. That is a hell of a shot right there. Holds up his hand as police officers keep demonstrators away from the White House in Washington on May 30th.
Oh, is that
Ay.
the pictures of the Secret Service in like the full riot gear?
Yes, yeah. But there's like it's in the foreground. Somebody's like walking by, just holding up their hands, like the hands up, don't shoot thing.
Uh,
And then somebody else in like the midground is in a gas mask, holding up their phones to record.
yeah.
This is
Did you see
crazy.
the tweet Beekman posted about the Minnesota National Guard with like the Humvee?
Oh yeah, that one
It's
was
so weird.
a real spooker moment. Where was it?
Like it's legitimately difficult to tell where they are.
Yeah, scrolling up here, I'll drop it
It's like
in
a
here.
day up or so.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, maybe cops shouldn't be wearing camouflage. Minnesota National Guard posted law enforcement uniforms can be hard to tell apart. Not everyone you see in camouflage is part of the Minnesota National Guard. Our guardsmen have U.S. Army and U.S. Air Force patches and wear U.S. flags on their sleeves to identify them. We live in your communities and we're here to help. Why are cops trying to blend into the environment that much? Don't think that's really how that's supposed to go, I don't think you should be dressing like you're in an active war zone.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, the tweet Beekman actually posted, the one that retweeted that, the response to it is from a friend of mine. I can't help but read this as a vicious subtweet of MPD. Here's how to tell us apart from the cops. We're the ones here to help, which is an interesting take.
one of the National Guardsmen said that.
No, the guy who
Oh, yes,
tweeted
I
like
see.
maybe
Okay.
cops, yeah, the
Yeah,
guy who
from
tweeted maybe cops shouldn't be wearing camouflage replied to that tweet with the vicious subtweet,
okay.
which is kind of interesting.
Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah. Um, there's also another interesting thread that was going on during all of this about something that I haven't been keeping up with much, which is the whole big Boogaloo movement or
Yeah,
whatever.
so I read the article that somebody posted, and I read,
Oh yeah, I think Beekman posted it yesterday, pretty
yeah,
close to
it's
that.
a long article,
Mm,
but it's kind of an interesting article. I didn't really agree with Kurtz's um, takes on it,
mm-hmm.
although I admit I didn't read the article in the greatest detail. He says what struck him most is how aware the groups are that their ideas are like violent and awful and terrible, and how they spend a lot of time kind of
Obfuscating.
hiding and burying all that in jokes and memes to
Yeah.
come off as not that. Um, that's not really what I took away from the article.
Okay.
Um, I feel like the article. I should really try to find the article.
I got it. I can post it in Discord.
Um, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I thought it kind of spent a weird amount of time emphasizing how like not stereotypically 4chan they are. Like it spends a lot of time and has a lot of screenshots saying like they're not racist, they're not super homophobic, they're just weird idiots who are really into guns and who like are really into political instability in kind of the worst way possible.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
uh, but the thing that I took away was like they weren't trying to. This isn't like another white nationalism movement. It's just
Then what is it?
preppers, but worse.
Oh, okay. What are they? Are they prepping for,
Well,
like?
so they're prepping for like inevitable civil war as they see it.
Oh, okay.
But that's also kind of a tongue-in-cheek shitpost.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also so related to like the other 4chan, like white nationalism, racism, homophobia, etc., that it's so kind of difficult to
Jesus Christ! When all else
to
fails, vote from the rooftops. Yikes.
yeah. That's kind of an interesting one.
Yeah.
Because the article specifically about that post kind of pulls out some of the racial context in that
Mm.
it's kind of in support of the Koreans, but also kind of tongue-in-cheek racist against black people, I guess. I don't really have the historical context to
Yeah.
unpack that one in the same way the article does.
Well, let's see if there's a when all else fails, vote from the rooftops.
Well, so it's about the LA riots in
Oh.
92
Right.
when Korean American shopkeepers like literally took to the rooftops with rifles to prevent people from looting their stores.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, yeah. Which is
yeah, and I guess the subtext there is the looters are black people, so you should shoot black people.
Oh,
I don't really
okay.
know.
Oh God. Oh fuck.
But yeah,
Yeah. I'm curious about this image that is the one that headlines the article, where they're listing off names, with the flag. His name was Michael Hastings. His name was Rick Cutshaw. His name was Gary Willis. Who are these people? Boogaloo boys regularly compare Lemp with black Americans who were shot dead by police officers. In fact, a growing subset of Boogaloo believers see men like Ahmad Arbery and Eric Garner as fundamentally the same sort of victims as Duncan Lemp, Vicky and Samuel Weaver, who died at Ruby Ridge. And okay, so they're saying all. Okay, all
those
police
are all people
raids
who have been shot and killed by the police for no good reason. They talk about Duncan Lemp later in the article too.
Okay.
And I think they latch onto him so specifically because he was a member of like one of those pseudo paramilitary groups.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know, man. Your heritage of rebellion. Jesus Christ. Yeah, this shit's wild. And I don't know. I don't think there's gonna be any real good answer in the coming days unless they've already arrested. I guess the point is they've already arrested him. So I'm curious if after the arrest, things are gonna calm down or if things are gonna continue.
No.
I think
things will calm down until something happens again, which it will.
Which it will, because we live in a society. Yeah, and it's terrible that I can say that with such calmness and certainty, but it's just happened so many times already that it's like
it will happen again.
I don't know what we need to change as a society to like I mean I do. We've talked about this multiple times. The fucking system of the police,
it's the whole thing.
Police institution needs to be seriously analyzed and reworked from the ground up to not include institutionalized racism. But here we are.
I keep seeing tweets about like the police as we know it having developed from like a slave enforcement system, and I'm not sure if that's actually correct.
What do you mean? What?
Like I keep seeing tweets saying that the system of like police and police departments as we know it developed from what was historically a system for keeping track of slaves and like keeping slaves in place. I don't know if that's true or if that's just a wild stretch.
Well, I mean,
that was the law back then. And the police enforced the law.
Yeah, I mean, that's a common thread. Is that
true,
the police?
If that's true, I think it's disingenuous to say that.
But then I guess the idea is that after emancipation, then people were enforcing Jim Crow laws, and after that, they've been enforcing other kinds of discrimination laws ever since then. And so it's just a long history of discrimination against people of color and Black Americans specifically. And so I think that's the. Oh
no! This is real.
What?
Oh wow.
What?
Oh, that's really interesting. So I just found some Time article about like the history of policing in the U.S. And it kind of starts out with like pre-Revolutionary War and kind of post-Revolutionary War, towns had like unofficial organized night watchmen, but that was bad because it just sucks. And then in the 1800s, in the South, police forces were created as a way of policing slaves and enforcing like slave patrols for the chasing down of runaways and preventing revolts. So that's actually weirdly correct.
The exact inciting moment was to keep
That is
slaves
actually 100% correct, which is kind of wild.
in. Yeah.
I feel like I just assume a lot of what I see on Twitter is not correct.
And
And I'm usually
that is a
right.
fair assumption. That is, most of the time probably right.
This is so fascinating. Oh, and then it was interesting. And then it was used to suppress union organization and
Right.
all sorts of immigrants.
Yeah. It's there is a, really shocking, or maybe not shocking based on how you view things, history of the law being used to keep down the working class.
Yeah. That's just kind of how that works.
Yeah.
Definitely for worse.
Yeah, I've the conversations I've had about this in the past. It's just like there is a role to have law and order in a society. We live in a society, ha ha ha. But there should be a system in place to track down and stop, murderers and rapists and people who would look to harm the average citizen.
The social contract.
Enforce the social contract. Right. But the social contract should not include racism. That's something that should not be part of
the social contract should not be dominated by
racism.
A certain class or group of people.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's
apparently a radical belief.
Yeah, real crazy. And so I don't know how, it just needs to get reworked. I don't know how it will, but we do need police to protect us, but they need to not be built on an institution that supports, discrimination. And I guess that goes to the lawmaking level, which then is, obfuscated by lobbyists and all that shit. So I really don't know what the solution is going to be, but I hope people are staying safe out there now. I guess that's the final sentiment the final and ultimate sentiment I can give is that I hope people stay safe and nobody else gets injured or, God forbid, it perishes because of all these protests. So we'll see. There was also that I saw on one of the updates earlier. The guy that was the CNN reporter that was arrested live on camera, which was definitely yeah. He was released pretty soon after that happened. Okay. And
what was he arrested for?
He was standing too close to the 3rd Precinct building.
Okay.
So they were moving, the police were moving the line for where protests needed to stop happening. They moved it back, and I guess they just were moving too slowly or something. But yeah, they arrested him, and then the guy was just like, all right, hey, so what line are we trying to do? Because I thought we were fine where we were, but I guess not. And then the guy who arrested him was just like, look, I don't know what exactly where the new line is exactly, but I was just following orders, which is interesting choice of words.
I have not watched the video. Yeah, it looks like they got released pretty quickly, though.
There wasn't much hassle over that, so I don't know if it's really as big of a deal as some people made. It definitely, when it was happening, that looked huge for a black reporter to be getting arrested live on camera. I'm honestly very surprised that I guess they just, again, following orders, they just arrest anybody who's beyond the point where they deemed it appropriate. But they were clearly news people. They had cameras.
I think I have an article pulled up, and the article says the reporter was like, I will be happy to move wherever you want me to move.
Exactly, yeah.
And they just got cuffed, I guess.
Yeah, they got cuffed, they got put in a car, and then shortly afterwards they got released. And now they're back reporting more.
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah.
I don't know. It's so hard to say with stuff like this. You kind of, so let me figure out what I'm trying to say here. Difficult to say that reporter arrested because he's black versus reporter arrested because idiot cop figured might as well arrest him. Worst case, he gets released. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I don't know. And that's definitely coming from like a place of privilege, TM.
Yeah, we're both fucking white dudes.
Relatively, comparatively wealthy white
Yeah.
men who are not in Minneapolis.
Yeah, white body cams 24/7 is definitely a step in the right direction, but as we've seen time and time again, they just keep turning their body cams off, and you know that's really
And there's no repercussion for it.
Yeah, there no.
It's always just like, oh, you turned your body cam off. Guess we don't have that evidence.
Yeah, whoopsies.
Whoops.
Give him a pee-pee slap. Uh-oh. All right, you can come back on the force. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Everybody makes mistakes, right? Everybody just, purposefully turns off their body cams as a very conscious action. Just happens to turn it off, It just happens. So you're fine. We'll just let that one slide, and we'll let every other one slide because it always happens. Yeah,
and that's part of the problem. There's such a culture among.
That's also
protecting each other, which
right.
like I totally get.
Yeah,
were I an officer,
I would want to defend the people that I work with.
I would relate to people who I felt were in similar situations that I was put in every day, and I would defend them.
Yeah,
like to the ends of the earth. But also, there's clearly a point where that's not acceptable.
There's clearly a point where you have to realize, hey, look. I understand that you guys are brothers in arms, but
kneeling on someone's neck is not a simple fuck up.
Yeah,
it is murder.
For 8 minutes after the guy says, "I can't breathe," please stop. Please tell him to stop. It's just like, yeah, it's like they're peer pressured into, or they're just all in on it, and that's the scary thing. It's like I don't know if those guys who were in on it just were standing by because they didn't want to look like the guy who turned against their brothers in arms, or if they're just also terrible human beings. Obviously you have to
I do think there is a culture of just like, we're all together, I gotta keep my fucking mouth shut.
Yeah.
Which I get. Like I feel the same way about a lot of things, but
you just can't.
Nothing so high stakes as someone's literal death.
Yeah, especially when you are police officers want to defend each when I can understand that ideology being fostered by the fact that in a life or death lethal force situation where somebody is shooting back at you, you need to make sure that your squad mates are with you and not gonna bail on you for any reason. But
also,
when you're in a
suspicion of counterfeiting is not.
Not grounds for lethal force.
Bullets aren't flying.
Yeah, you're not in a life or death situation. Lethal force is definitely should not be authorized. I don't know if anybody even was just like, yeah, let's authorize lethal force right now for this counterfeit $20 bill.
Yeah, so I think putting somebody on the ground and cuffing them isn't lethal force TM.
No,
even though in this case it clearly was.
Yeah. I mean, I was considering the placing of the knee on the neck.
Oh, no, I totally agree.
And then applying pressure for 8 minutes.
I completely agree.
Yeah. And, yeah, I don't know. Just keeping... And it's so hard because they're so entrenched at this point that, you're not going to easily be able to get any outside group to come in and form some kind of large-scale intervention at precincts across the country. That's just not going to happen. And yeah, it just comes back around to things have to change at a fundamental level, but that's not going to be easy to do under our current system. And I just don't know. Also, Lul is now in the gaming chat. I don't know if he wants in or not. Oh, yep, he just pinged. I got 5 minutes. All right.
10 minutes too late.
Wee. Hello, Lul. Welcome to the show.
They're doing a break during the training.
Okay.
For,
what fucking training do you have at noon on Saturday?
I detect.
Okay.
Also, we're getting paid, so I don't really care. But yeah, it's like a 10-minute break, and started 3 minutes ago, so it's not going to be too long that I have in here. But
that is training on the online tools.
Yeah, just on the tools, how to deal with the kids, that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Gotcha. we were just going. I mean, we've been talking
out of our asses.
Yeah, we've
racial
been
conflicts that we are not qualified to speak on.
Yeah, covering
Correct.
covering the updates, and then just what we were doing most recently was talking about, how does this stop? How do we stop this? And I don't think there's any easy
killing black people in the streets, dude.
Yeah, that's
1, step 2, and step 3, right? Like it's not like
actually that easy.
Believe it or not, if the cops that were evolved from the slave patrol stopped doing what they were made to do, like, we wouldn't have this problem in the first place.
Yeah.
But like,
we were talking about how that's like actually true.
Yeah,
I saw like a tweet on Twitter, and I was like, that can't be right.
No, the badge is from
That's
like
totally
the
correct.
The badge is the slave patrol. Like,
hooey.
this is not, this is not a bug. This is a feature.
Yeah.
And so then it was just like, these institutions have been they're so the people involved are so entrenched now that like bringing in outside intervention is going to be so difficult to make any real change, especially on such a large scale as the entire United States. Like the getting people, as we were talking about how cops are gonna stand by each other because they want to protect their brothers in arms, but then like you gotta be like, hey, maybe we shouldn't choke this man to death when he is clearly not a threat right now.
I mean, there hasn't been an uptick in police killings, right? We just have more cameras.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's.
In that case, I guess the cameras are working in a sense, although it's not stopping the killings. It's at least making people more aware, which is better than before in some aspect. But yeah,
I'm gonna make a Dave Chappelle joke, but it'll probably be against Twitch TOS.
Yeah, it doesn't stop. It doesn't get to the root of the problem, which is the fact that there are people being recruited into the police. Like, kind of says that there's a higher, maybe a higher requirement to become a cop. There should just be some kind of
training.
requirement.
Okay, I gotta hop off again.
Okay.
Next time we get a break, podcast's probably over. But
yeah,
signing off. Fuck 12. Fuck cops.
Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, higher requirements to become a cop, sure. But like, I think one of those requirements should be, hey, do you have a history of like white supremacy and racism? Maybe you shouldn't be defending a large minority group in your precinct. Maybe that's not the best play.
You might be underestimating the sheer number of people in certain regions of this country that simply, or I think you might be underestimating the number of regions of this country where having a history of white supremacy is simply a thing that everyone has.
Yeah, and unlearning that is a whole nother long road. Yeah. But yeah, I guess, and then do you bring out of towners? That's not gonna work, because then people in the precinct are gonna fucking hate you. So I don't know. I would, sorry, yeah.
Also, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but there's also like the shit about police officers having a higher rate of domestic abuse, and is that because people who are predisposed to domestic abuse become police officers, or does becoming a police officer
chicken or egg situation?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
And that's not really the same thing, but like,
yeah, it's
definitely adjacent.
I've definitely heard jokes about the idea that people who can't pass the tests that you need to pass to get into the Army or into the Navy or whatever, then you become a police officer after that fact. And
it's the same like rent-a-cop joke, but with actual cops.
Right. And so that could lead to, resentment, or just that the people who are so determined to get into like if people who become cops after they fail to become military are so determined to get into some kind of active war zone to let out their like aggression or whatever it is. Again, armchair psychology, grain of salt, all that shit. But like, that seems like that should just be a red flag on its own, that you shouldn't be doing this to kill people. That's just fucked up. You should be doing this to protect and serve. Your whole job description, and the number one thing you should be paying attention to when you apply to become a police officer is, hey, you are here to serve the public. You are here to defend them from people who would try to do them harm. You're not here to harm them yourselves. You're not here to protect fucking vested interest in fucking, like, racist institutions or whatever. You're here to protect the people. And that seems to be lost on all of these cops who have done these crimes. So yeah, and I don't know how we can possibly raise the standards for becoming a cop and enforcing that standard raising where, the people who are hiring cops. Also, like I think I understand it as cops are super understaffed. So the people who are hiring, like the local municipalities, are going to just take whoever comes by after a certain point. If they're not seriously mentally ill, like without a doubt, and then
as long as they're functional on paper.
Yeah, exactly. Then they're probably going to get in. Police understaffed. I just want to check myself before I wreck myself. But yeah, America's growing cop shortage. Okay, this was 2018. But I don't think the situation's improved. So I'm willing to trust this at least somewhat. There's supposed to be 6 police officers patrolling this territory. 3 are on duty today, including 1 who's already into overtime. Yeah. So nobody wants to become a cop because, obviously, we've just spent half an hour discussing why. And so then it's a never-ending cycle of just not a great situation where you have a shortage. So even if the people in charge of hiring are like, hey, maybe we shouldn't hire this guy who's like a super gun nut and like post on Facebook all the time about wanting to kill Arabs in Afghanistan. Maybe we shouldn't put him on the front lines to defend our high POC community. They have no other applications. So then they're like, well, other than that, he's fine, so I guess he's not breaking any technical rules, so we're going to hire him. And then you end up with that guy in the force, and then he ends up doing something stupid, and then people start to protest and riot. And so there's just so much going on. I don't know what the solution to all of that could be. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I'm very curious to see if there's going to be still more to talk about this on the podcast for next week. Definitely a lot's been happening and a lot is going to continue to happen. With our current administration, I don't know if especially given the statements that our president has already made in regards to protesting and stuff, I don't think he's going to come out and he has said in words that he supports, he thinks George Wallace's death was a tragedy, but then his actions do not support his words, I guess, or he contradicts himself in the way he talks about everything else that's been going on, I guess. And I think he's still playing to his base, which he's always done, and I think he's going to continue to do at least through election season, if not to the end of his presidency. But yeah, and that's a real shame because he's the real figurehead of this country, and seeing him talk like that is just not a great sign, to me at least. I don't know. Do you have any final thoughts? I guess we're getting pretty close to time here.
Shit is fucked up.
Shit is fucked up. Yeah, that's it.
So I don't really have the context to make a more clear statement.
Yeah.
Really spent the last hour talking out of our asses, but...
Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, for anybody watching, just keep reading as much as you can. I remember fucking first year, some kind of first year writing class I had to take, taught me a really good skill, which is the idea of triangulation, which is to try to get 3 independent sources on whatever piece of news you're trying to confirm, to confirm it as reliable. So if you can do that, it takes an iota of effort to do so, but I think it's very worth the effort. Then you get a better picture of multiple sources commenting on the same thing, and that's good. And yeah, just stay informed and keep having conversations, because that's how. The more you talk about it, the closer we can get to as a society getting closer to solutions, I think. And so yeah, stay.
Absolutely. I mean, sorry.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say stay safe out there. But yeah, what did you want to say?
Hot news, nuclear take from Mewtwo King on Twitter. I dislike racism.
Whoa.
That's the whole-
All
that's
right,
the
we
whole
gotta
tweet.
cancel the show now. All right, we're done. We can't
Oh,
with
God.
that hot fire take. We're out of here.
Another tweet from someone in Minneapolis. We lit the fucking jail on fire.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Well, yeah.
Wild.
All right, I think we're just gonna leave it there
Yeah,
before we
that's
say
it.
anything real stupid. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Monday, and again, stay safe. Peace.